Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, we are going to finish up the Odyssey, and I'm honestly super excited about it. I feel like I say that a lot, but I'm always really excited about it. But I don't really have a whole lot of big announcements. We are just, I'm really excited for October and Halloween, so that's my big thing right now. I hope everyone's reading something really good for Halloween. I am reading The Taking of Jake Livingston. I'm still really into the beginning part of it. I'm not super far yet, but so far I'm enjoying it. I really like Halloween, but I like it when it's not super spooky. Like, I'm a big Halloween town person. You know what I mean? Like, I like a casual Halloween, like a fun, like a family friendly Halloween, I guess. That's kind of my thing. I'm not big into super spooky or super scary. So I'm really hoping this book will be everything I want and more. I also saw that the X Hex came out, and I really want to read that as well. But we will see how many books I get to read this month. I hope you guys get to do some fun Halloween reading yourselves. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, we're going to be continuing on with the Odyssey with Jade from About a Book podcast.
Hi.
So, this round of chapters, or I guess books, is just not a whole lot happens.
Yeah, if this was a Friends episode, it'd be called The One Where Nothing Happens because I feel like where we left off, there was a lot of anticipation, like Odysseus lands finally back in Ithaca. But in this episode, he's gonna still be in Ithaca, but he doesn't even he's still in his disguise and he doesn't reveal himself or anything. So it's just, I don't know, a bit of an anticlimax, and we're kind of left on a cliffhanger again. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, this is basically the anime Hot Springs episode. Like, it's just a filler episode.
Yeah.
Nothing's really going on.
Yeah, that is the perfect way to explain it because this could have all been edited out.
Mhm.
Homer's editor just was not, he was slacking at this part. But we're gonna
Oh,
try and
yeah.
make it entertaining for you guys and just bring our sense of humor to it.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be as depressing as the last episode was.
Yeah. There were some sad chapters.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're on to book 15, The Prince Returns. Honestly, these chapter titles were very spoiler esque.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because in this episode as well, Telemachus, his son, arrives home as well. Like perfect timing. What are the chances?
It's not like Athena planned this whole thing for us. So Athena shows up to get Telemachus, and she doesn't tell him that his father's coming home, but she's like, hey, the suitors are going to try and kill you, so this is the route you should take home.
Yeah, the suitors, they enough is enough, they're like, we can't wait any longer for Penelope. We're just gonna kill her son and then just have complete control. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's scary times for Telemachus, but luckily he's got Athena on his side and she kind of like spoils their plan and lets them in on the secret.
Yeah, I honestly, Athena is the main reason that anybody in this family is alive at this point.
Definitely.
So Menelaus is like, yeah, sure, if you really want to leave my house, you can leave and go home. And Telemachus is like, yes, please, thank you. But Menelaus still kind of wants him to stay. And I'm like, bruh, he wants to go home, see his dad.
Well, yeah, people in this book seem very desperate for people not to leave. Like, they just want to keep visitors for as long as possible. I
Hmm.
guess it's because, like, there was no form of entertainment. So, like, having a guest was way more exciting than it would be nowadays, maybe. That's my guess.
Hmm.
I don't know. Or else it could just be that, like, Xenia thing, the
Yeah.
hospitality. Like, they just want to be as hospitable as possible. So the gods just, like, favor them. So they're trying to, get people to stay for as long as possible. I don't know, but yeah, let him go home.
I know. It's like, maybe it's just me, but when I have a guest for too long, I'm like, listen, I love having you here. I'm so burned out. Please go home.
The social battery runs out. Yeah.
Yeah, my social battery is like max a couple days, and then I'm like, if we could be in separate rooms, it's fine. But if I'm like sharing a room with a person for more than like a handful of days, I'm like, okay, I need a little me time. I'm gonna go on a walk for a couple hours to
I
reflect
agree.
on myself.
I agree.
So they give Telemachus a bunch of treasure. So our man is once again loaded. I honestly love this. Like, basically, you go visit people, they give you money, and then you leave.
Yeah, because nowadays when you visit someone, you have to give them gifts. But back then, if you stay in someone's house, they give you gifts. So
Mhm.
like, if I lived back then, I'd be just like hopping to everyone's houses and just making my fortune off visiting
Literally.
people.
I know. It's like you can start as a beggar, but if you have like one nice outfit, you just go and start like staying with people, and then they give you money.
Mm, sounds like a
S-
good deal.
Yeah. So then Helen prophesizes that Odysseus is already at home. She says it's to Telemachus. And Telemachus is like, thanks, but probably not true. Um, and then my favorite thing is that Telemachus is like traveling with Nestor's son, but he's like trying to figure out how that he can avoid seeing Nestor. He's like, I really just feel like I gotta go home. So Nestor's son, like, yeah, if you see my dad, he's not gonna let you leave. So if you leave right now, I'm just gonna slowly make my way to his house, and then you better be on a ship before he asks where you are.
I love that. It's like the over friendly mom that just like wants
Mhm.
to like make you dinner, make you stay forever, and like chat to you for ages when you're like trying to get somewhere. The best.
I mean, we've
But
all had those friends, right?
yeah, yeah. But it's nice to see Helen in this book because obviously before this we did the Iliad, and that's all about the Trojan horse and about the big fight over her. So now it's nice to see her in this chapter, presumably happier, and she's just chatting away to Telemachus and things are back to normal, it seems.
Yeah, I feel for Helen. Like I really think she left, you know, um Menelaus on her own accord, and then she like has this whole war basically for her hand, and she's like, okay, so I guess I have to go back to my husband now, like my ex-husband now, and because he started a 10-year war to get her back.
Yeah.
Like, how can you just like stay in Troy at that point, like you're obviously going back into this obviously toxic relationship, and now she's like, I guess I'll just tell you prophecies and stuff, because what else do I have to do?
Yeah, exactly.
So as they go to leave, a random murderer joins the crew. Like, the way people just profess to murder or confess to murder in this book is honestly astronomical.
Who even knows though? Because people also lie a lot in this
Hmm.
book. So maybe he was just lying to seem like a badass or something. I don't know. Because as we talked about in the last episode, Odysseus is up here lying left, right, and center. So who even knows
Hmm.
this guy's a murderer? He might have just been making that up. But yeah, it's funny.
Can you imagine making up that you murdered someone just on a whim, and then you're like, ah, everyone's like, oh yeah, cool, great, this is a murderer. Just, yeah, let him onto our crew, whatever. So then we get a flash to Odysseus, and he tells the slaves that he plans to go into town and beg, but they're like, hey, just hang out for a while. It doesn't really matter. Like, don't worry about it. And then they fill Odysseus in on the fact that his dad is like straight up begging to die, like rough. Um, and then the slave of Odysseus's tells him that he was once a prince, which, like, this seems like a common theme. Like, there's a lot of royals that become slaves after war.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, he gets like taken from his family, and then like Odysseus's father raises him alongside
Mhm.
Odysseus or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's kind of
Or
like a
it was
he's
Odysseus's,
Odysseus'
sorry.
mom, wasn't it?
It was Odysseus's mom raising this guy with Odysseus's younger sister.
Yeah. So he's kind of like a foster brother slash
Mhm.
slave, which is a weird connection, but hey
Yeah.
ho, that's the way it was.
I guess, yeah. So Telemachus is back, and he shows up to the herder because for some reason that's where he decided to go instead of going back to his family home. And they're just like sitting there eating lunch, and Odysseus is like, oh my gosh, that's my son. So then we're on to book 16, Father and Son. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. So Odysseus finally gets to see his son. And then Telemachus calls the slave grandpa, which is kind of cute, but also very strange.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Like, I get that that was probably who took care of him as a kid because Odysseus wasn't around, but it's still very weird to me.
Yeah, me too.
So Telemachus decides to hide out at the swine herder's cabin. And he's like, how about you go deliver the news to my mom and tell her that I'm home, but I don't want to see the suitors yet. Which I just think is kind of funny.
Yeah, he's like, they're gonna kill me. I'm gonna stay back. You can go tell my mom.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But after the servant leaves, Athena decides that Odysseus needs to come clean because, like, Odysseus is still dressing in rags at this point. And him and his son decide to start plotting to kill the suitors, which is great. But, like, Odysseus lies so much for no reason.
I know. It's just honestly chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But,
yeah, like Penelope staying loyal to him for like 10
mm-hmm.
years, knowing that he's a compulsive liar and that he's probably slept away in Europe. It just, she's a saint. I don't know why she
Greece.
puts up with it. Greece, sorry. Yeah, it's like she could do better.
Yeah, I know. I honestly feel for Penelope, like, she's stayed faithful, and this man has probably like 18 demigod kids.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we get to the plan part, and the plan is just to hide the weapons and kill everyone. And I'm like, buddy, that's not a plan. They're like, Odysseus is this great planner. Your plan is just murder.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, we could just easily take these like, well, I presume to be like 15 plus people. Like, can't
Mm-hmm.
he? Yeah, grand. I know my son that I've only been reunited with after 10 years. Like, yeah, I'm sure we can just take down these 15 people. Like
Yeah.
they haven't like, had all these years of fighting together, or like he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even know if his son has been like trained to fight properly, or like I just know. I love his confidence, the way he thinks he can take down these 15 suitors, but
Yeah, I know. I'm like, first of all, he's been stranded on ships for like 10 years. He hasn't been training in 10 years then. And he's basically just like, well, I was in a war for 10 years, so I can probably just do this.
yeah, like he's literally
Like,
been chilling on a beach for most of it and just visiting people's houses and having feasts. Like I bet he's got a big pot
yeah.
belly on him. There's no way he's gonna be able to defeat these suitors. But we shall
Yeah,
see.
he's basically just like sleeping with Calypso for 9 years. So I'm really not sure, how much physical activity that involves. I feel like he probably needs to do some workout routines, something like that. So the suitor ship came back and they're trying to figure out different ways to kill them, to kill Telemachus. And they're just like, we'll just like kill him somehow. It doesn't really matter how. And then they go back to Odysseus' house, and then Penelope comes down and she's like, you need to stop trying to kill my son. And they're like, us? We would never, not us. No, we wouldn't kill your son. What?
Marry us. We're not trying to kill your son, I swear. Like what were they expecting?
And,
They would like kill her son and then be like, are you gonna marry one of us now? Come on, come on. It's been so long. Your husband hasn't returned.
yeah,
Your son's dead. Marry one of us. Like, makes no sense.
I know. It's insane. So then we're on to book 17, Insult and Abuse. So Odysseus is back to pretending to be a beggar, and the swineherder is like, okay, I'll take you into town, and you can just beg in town. And then Telemachus goes back home, tells Penelope to go up to her room and low key just hide there for the night. Which I was like, okay, dope. That means they're going to kill all these people tonight. Spoiler, no, they don't. So Penelope is really hoping that Odysseus is going to come home. Since every time she talks, it's about Odysseus, which, like, fair enough. Like, she's really hoping her husband's going to come back. But, like, also it's been 10 years, like,
Yeah. Like as we were saying, this like the Iliad, it fails the what's that test called where the
Bechtel.
girls Bechdel test. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Penelope fails the Bechdel test.
Oh, yeah. Which, sad. I mean, like, she just has no character development at all.
No.
I couldn't tell
I
you a
think I
single thing
think
about
I
her.
th- I think that would be asking too much, to be honest. Looking
From
for some
Homer.
character development from a woman? What?
Yeah.
Um,
What?
but I guess she was like, this is how we explained it in school, is that like for her time she actually was quite like independent and cunning because she was able to keep the suitors away for so long, and she was able
Mm-hmm.
to trick them with weaving this thing that she was making. So
Mm-hmm.
it seems to us like she does like nothing and that she's all weak and stuff, but apparently she was actually like, okay.
I mean, honestly, killer. Like, way to go, Penelope, for doing that whole weaving thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so then some random dude in town is being a dirtbag to Odysseus for no reason. And then, like, Odysseus decides to go to his own home. And then we see a dog of his die for no reason.
Yeah, so it's like his dog has stayed loyal, like the dog has stayed
Mm-hmm.
loyal to Odysseus for 10 years, and then
Mm-hmm.
when he finally sees Odysseus come home, he's able to like die, like
Yeah. Well,
it's
it's
like
20 years old, that dog.
yeah, so I think that's just another way that Homer is showing loyalty. He's just like he's just like weaving these themes through it all the way, but yeah, that's just to show the loyalty of a dog, I guess.
That was so sad for no reason.
I know. We said we're not gonna let this episode get sad though again, so
Yeah, yeah,
moving
yeah.
swiftly on.
Moving on. So then Odysseus is like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to test every single one of these suitors before I kill them. So he goes and tries to beg at all the suitors. And then one of the suitors throws a stool at him. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he just felt threatened that like another man was entering the home in case they tried to take Penelope or something. Or maybe he just
Yeah.
hates beggars and he's just like, I'm not giving you anything.
I don't know, man. I was like, okay, weird. And then we're on to book 18, Two Beggars. So basically, all that happens in this chapter is like another beggar shows up and it's like, hey, I beg at this house. And then decides to fight Odysseus. And then Odysseus, like, straight up smokes the dude and then puts him outside. And is like, there you go.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is a filler episode. It's like, why is this necessary to the plot?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this doing? What is this serving? What is this telling us? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
But
don't know either. So then Penelope's like, okay, I'm going to go down and I'm going to address all these suitors. And yeah, beggars fighting. And she decides to dress all the suitors and she looks really hot. So all the suitors decide to give Penelope gifts. And
love
then
that for her.
Athena's, yeah, love that for her, as she deserves, truly. And Athena makes all these suitors taunt Odysseus for some reason because she wants the fighting to get started. And I'm on Athena's side here.
Yeah, I'm like, cut to it. Cut out all this
Mm-hmm.
boring crap. Let's get to the fighting. Come on, that's why we're all
Yeah,
here.
literally. So then all the suitors go to bed, and then we're on to book 19. The Queen and the Beggar. Wonder what's going to happen. So our man Odysseus decides to like keep lying to his wife. And they're trying
How
to
could
figure
he
out.
do that? His
I
wife's waiting for him
know.
for 10 years and he's still keeping his disguise under wraps. I mean, maybe it's for protection since all the suitors are there and he doesn't want her to get all emotional and blow his cover, but come
Mm-hmm.
on. Oh my god. Like he not dying to see her and to just like kiss her or like hug her or
Literally.
something? Ugh.
Literally. And he's watching her cry, and I'm like, buddy, it's literally your wife.
Yeah, and then he's just like, "Oh yeah, Odysseus. I met Odysseus, and he said he's gonna be coming home in like a month." And it's like, "Are you serious? Like you're just lying to cause drama now."
Mm-hmm. I know. I don't know. I'm just like, Odysseus, get it together, please. Telemachus and Odysseus are fully hatching the plan, I guess, to kill the suitors by taking all of the weapons off the wall.
Yeah, I guess there must be like armor and spears and stuff on the wall that they're just like
Mm-hmm.
taking away.
But my favorite thing is Penelope comes down while they're hiding all of the spears and stuff. Like they just hid everything. And Penelope comes down, doesn't say anything about it. And she's like, can you tell me about my husband?
Yeah. Oh, I love her.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, we love someone with a very set focus. Love that for her.
To be honest though, like waiting for him to come home is like all she has going on in her
Hmm.
life. Like her life revolves around Telemachus and her
Hmm.
husband. And it's not like she could have found love while he's gone because
Hmm.
like she has all these suitors in her house and women can't really just freely roam around the place dating people. So like she's just probably just been thinking of him 24/7 for the last 10 years. So
Yeah. Yeah, facts. So then also Penelope is like really smart because all these people have been coming to her and being like, yeah, I did see your husband, blah, blah, blah. But like they're fully lying just to basically get on her side. So she's like, hey, can you describe him to me? And Odysseus is like, yeah, and describes himself with this outfit that he knows will like persuade her because she made it for him.
yeah. It's
And I was
so
like,
so
nice.
bad.
Yeah, literally. He's just like, yeah, he had this purple cloak on with these, like what are those called? Like those pins that
Oh,
are,
yeah, kind of
yeah, I don't know,
brooches.
like brooches. Yeah, I don't know if that's the right word that I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
and he's like, yeah, it's this, and it's got like this design on it. And she goes, oh my gosh, I made that for him. Oh my gosh, he wore it. And blah blah blah. And Odysseus
He
is like,
remembers
yeah.
me.
uh, so then Odysseus says he only wants an old woman servant to clean his feet. So the servant that cleans his feet immediately knows that it's Odysseus because she sees a scar on his foot.
Yeah, and it's some scar that he got off, like, hunting with his dad when he was a kid that, like,
Yeah.
only, like, she's seen, so
Hmm.
that's kind of, like, the first thing that gives his identity away.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's you. And he's like, do not say anything, otherwise I will kill you. And she's like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything. And then apparently Penelope decides that she's going to make a contest for the suitors because that's the way to solve this problem.
She just wants some eye candy, she wants to see these men compete.
Compete. Facts though.
The competition
Hmm.
is to see what suitor or like what person can
Hmm.
shoot an arrow through the kind of like hole in
Hmm.
10 spears. So I assume like on the head of the axe there's like a little hole and she's looking for the person that can shoot an arrow through all
Hmm.
10 of the holes in the 10 axes. And apparently, this is going to be good for Odysseus because he's amazing at archery. So yeah.
Yeah.
Or not archery, whatever it's
Which
called. Yeah.
spear throwing, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, you kill it, I guess. I don't know, man. I was like, I don't know why this is happening because it's not murder, but okay, sure. Book 20, The Last Banquet, which, my favorite thing is that they were trying really hard not to say the Last Supper, and I think that's funny. So Odysseus is watching the girls who slept with the suitor come out, and he's like, what if I just kill them? And I'm like, Odysseus, wow, okay.
Odysseus is just like can't be tamed. He's just compulsive liar and just
Hmm.
very impulsive in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, there's a part in here. I'll talk about it when we get there,
Yeah.
actually. I'm not going to even say anything yet. So Athena comes and's like, what's up? And Odysseus is like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to kill everyone because he still hasn't formulated a plan yet.
He's
Like,
had
he's had
10
days.
years. He's had 10
Yes.
years. He's been on this journey home for so long. He knew there's been suitors there for like a while now.
Hmm.
So he should have had a plan. No excuses.
Literally. I'm
Typical
like,
man,
dude.
last minute with everything.
He is a king procrastinator. Let's say it.
Yeah. King of procrastinating.
Hmm. And then Athena's like, here's what you're going to do, go to sleep. And I'm like, okay, why?
That's definitely a stress tactic that a lot of people
Hmm.
take. If they just get too overwhelmed, they're just like nap. So
Listen, I'm a stress napper, so I feel that.
yeah.
I'm a stress snacker and then I'm a stress napper. So
Not a good combination.
no, it's really not. Like, I wish when I was stressed out, I would go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like, I wish
Yeah.
that was my
That's what my mom
go
does.
to. See, I love going to the gym, but I can't do it if I'm stressed out. I can't work out if I'm stressed out.
I'm very Irish. I'm a stressed tea drinker.
Oh,
Did you
wait,
know
that's a
that
good one.
Irish people actually drink way more tea than British people?
Really?
Yeah. It's more of
Huh.
like an Irish thing than an English thing. Anyways.
I feel like the only reason we have that is because of the Boston Tea Party, and we knew it came from the Brits. So, like, we
Yeah.
all are like associate tea drinking with England.
Yeah.
I think that's really the only reason.
Yeah, that's a good point. Probably.
So then we flash over to Penelope, and she basically tells Athena she would rather die than remarry, which, you know, good for you, Penelope. Like, stand up for yourself.
Is it out of love for Odysseus, or is it just because she's just so fed up at this point that she just wants to be single?
I mean, either way, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
she's got a lot going on. So, Odysseus still trying to formulate his plan after he wakes up from his little nap. And I'm like, my guy, like, get it together.
He's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't care about Odysseus at all. Like, tell me about Circe. Tell me about Calypso. Tell me about Penelope. Don't tell me about Odysseus.
He just gets babied by the gods. Like everything
Yes.
he's done, it's been because he got help from the gods.
Yeah. Like, Penelope came up with her weaving strategy on her own. The gods didn't tell her to do that. Everything that
Yeah.
Odysseus has had to do, the gods had to tell him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like my brother. Like me and my sisters off do these tours and stuff. And my brother just gets away with not doing anything, and then he's like definitely babied the most, even though he's not the youngest. Yeah, it's
I
just
hate that for you.
yeah, son privilege, and she's like Odysseus is definitely like a son to like Athena. So
Mm-hmm.
mommy's boy,
Oof.
Athena boy. No, that sounds weird.
Yeah. You made Athena sound like a MILF.
Yeah. I love that for her
So,
though.
yeah, me too. Honestly, I love Athena. I can't say that actually. I know what she did to Medusa, but
Mm.
yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Well, we've talked about this before. No god is not problematic in the Greek mythology.
Is Hephaestus problematic?
I don't know enough about them to know, but probably.
Probably, but like the main thing I know about Hephaestus is what we talk about in the Odyssey, which is, or is it in the Odyssey? Is that where I read it? Where Hephaestus keeps basically like finds out Aphrodite, his wife's cheating on him, and then was like, oh, let me
Oh,
just put that
yeah.
on, everyone to know.
Oh, yeah, that was the Odyssey. Feels like a very
Okay,
long time
cool.
ago. But yeah.
That lives rent free in my head because it's also Percy Jackson.
Yes.
Anyways, so the suitors basically are like, we should still try and kill Telemachus, which, like, at this point, I feel like they all should know that the gods are not in on this with them, and they still haven't, like, worked through that yet.
They always like want the god's blessing for everything, but then if the gods are like, no, they're like, it's like that meme, I can't read, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, facts. And the suitors, like, Athena decides that the best course of action to get Odysseus to act is to get the suitors to bully Odysseus even more. And I'm like, why do we not communicate? Why don't we just,
Go
talk?
figure. Go figure.
I know. I don't understand why that was the strategy, but, it's a strategy, I guess. Like, Athena's obviously is, like, coming up with a plan to get an action to happen way more than Odysseus is. So then we get book 21, an archery contest. So basically, Odysseus talked to Penelope and was like, how about you do this? Get them to get Odysseus's bow and shoot it through 12 axe holes. That's the plan. And Penelope's like, great idea. So now the bow and arrow contest is going to be the start of the murder because Odysseus decided that this is the greatest plan that he's ever come up with.
It's very convenient for Odysseus because he's apparently the best like archer. Is that the word? Archer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the best like archer around. He could like give Katniss Everdeen like a run for her money. Like he was the best in the business. So he's like got this down. And then he's just gonna use the excuse to slaughter everybody.
Yep. Why does this feel like a Jason Bourne moment?
Who the heck's that?
You haven't seen the Jason Bourne movies?
I've never even heard of it.
Oh.
It's like James Bond?
Yeah, kind of. Jason Bourne is with Matt Damon. Do you know Matt Damon?
Yeah, I know Matt
Yeah.
Damon.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I don't know if he's all the Jason Bournes. He was the last one. Hold on, let me Google myself. I think they're all Matt Damon, though. One second. Like, you haven't seen that? Yeah, Matt Damon. You haven't seen the latest one where they're like, oh my God, it's Jason Bourne.
No.
You haven't seen that quote?
No.
Okay, hold on. Oh,
I'm
they're
gonna
not all with Matt Damon.
I'm gonna
Just the last
Google
couple.
it.
Yeah, please watch those. They are very, very good. They're based on books, but the way like the character in that like figures things out is like what they're trying to make Odysseus sound like, to be honest. So my note here is: did no one think that Odysseus could just come clean and all the suitors would leave?
Yeah, maybe he'd be like, "Yo, I'm Odysseus," and they'd all like be afraid or something. Or maybe like they'd all just pounce on him at once and kill him. Because I'd say he's like kind of an old man at this point. That's how I imagine him.
Yeah,
We're
fair
not
enough.
like an old man, but I imagine the suitors to be like in their 20s, and then for Odysseus to be like in his like I don't know 50s or something. That's not old, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they probably were like, "Oh, we could take him." Like, I guess at this point, we assume the suitors are going to such great lengths. Like, they're trying to kill Telemachus just for the meme. Like,
Yeah.
it's fair to assume they would probably also kill Odysseus if they found out, like Agamemnon got killed. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that he's a king, probably get killed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So now, all the suitors are deciding they're going to try and compete. So the first person that tries to compete is Telemachus so that he can get his mom to go home and, make all the suitors feel bad about himself. But he can't even string his father's bow. Every single person
What a
tries it.
fail.
Yeah, everyone tries it. No one can even string it. And like at this point, everyone's kind of embarrassed. They're like, okay, this is baloney. No one could do this. Odysseus himself probably can't do this. They're trying to like, pet their ego a little bit. And then Odysseus decides to open up to two slaves. And he's like, hey, I'm Odysseus.
I
Pack
wouldn't
everything away.
I wouldn't believe him at this point since he's such a compulsive liar.
I know. Like, how does anybody believe Odysseus? Like this dude lies just for the sake of lying.
Yeah. It's kind of toxic to be honest, like.
Truly. Like, if I was Penelope, there's no way I would want to stay with him because it's like you never know when he's actually telling the truth, but he like tests everybody all the time by lying to them. Like, that's just horrible in a relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Justice for Penelope.
Yeah, truly. I feel bad for her. Like, I would not want to be with Odysseus at all. So Odysseus tells them the plan, and he's decided that he's going to lock everyone in there with him and, then kill them all because that's a full plan, I guess. So Odysseus says, keep in mind he's still dressed in rags at this point, that he wants to try and string the bow, and all these suitors are like, absolutely not. Like, if he's actually able to do this, this is going to be embarrassing. So, no. And, while this is all going on, all the ladies go to bed for some reason because they're all just inclined to do so. And then Odysseus finally gets to string the bow and shoots the bow through all the spears just in front of everybody.
Yeah, easy peasy, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Cue
Which, like,
the Elle Woods meme where it's like, what? Like it's hard?
yes. But, like, the thing that's wild to me is, like, how long has it been since he's used a bow? Like, probably 10 years, right? Because he was trapped on that island with Circe. He'd have no reason to use a bow.
Yeah. I guess it's like riding a bike, it's just something you never lose.
I guess, but, like, drawing a bow back is very difficult. Like, it requires a lot of strength depending on, like, the weight of the bow. So, how much was this dude working out at Circe's island? Because he had to keep up his workout regimen for sure.
The gods just suddenly made it as light as a feather so he could win.
I mean, probably, to be honest. But it feels like Thor's hammer. You know, like the only one
Yeah.
that can lift it is Thor is basically what's going on with this bow.
Mm-hmm.
So then we are on to book 22, Bloodshed.
Yeah. Did you get to the juicy part?
Yes, Odysseus decides that the best way to handle the situation is to get straight up naked.
All right.
What?
I don't really see it. I don't really see the logic
Yeah,
in that. Maybe he just
me
wants to feel
either.
like, maybe he just wants to have his dick out and be like super masculine while he's like murdering all these guys. I don't know.
I guess. But like my thing is like, these are rags that he's wearing, so it's not like he could be worried about getting his clothes dirty.
It's not like he's trying to hide the murder scene because it's gonna be pretty obvious that he murdered them, So,
Yeah, there's like 15 people there.
if anything, it's gonna be easier for them to like kill him because he's gonna have absolutely no like armor or like nothing on, like not even
Yeah.
rags.
Is this like showboating? Like, is he like, I don't even need armor to
Yeah,
beat you
probably.
guys?
Probably.
It's wild. And they still don't know this is Odysseus at the point that he just gets straight naked. And then, he gets straight up naked and then he announces, like after a couple minutes, he's like, I'm Odysseus. He like has this long speech, but it basically just sums up to I'm Odysseus, and everyone gets terrified.
Oh yeah, the big long spiel. I am Odysseus, son of whoever, blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah. Yeah.
Fought in the wars of Troy, led 18 armies,
They could have just stopped him in the middle of his speech, like.
Yeah, they really could have. I don't know why they didn't. I guess at this point they only have swords on them and he has a bow, but like how big is this room they're in?
No idea. Probably like a feasting room. That's how I imagine it.
Oh yeah, that'd be fair. That's probably a good. Because they need enough, room to have strung up axes and also like shoot a target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's got to be like a feasting room size, but it's like he has to be closer to them than he is to the axes and stuff. Why didn't they take the axes? I'm just realizing that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Free weapons, like.
Yeah.
And they could have all just made a plan. Let's all take these axes and just go 1, 2, 3 and like wallop them.
This is like in action movies where I never understood why everyone didn't rush him at the same, like rush the main character at the same time. They always wait their turn.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Makes absolutely no logical sense, but I guess it's good for the drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know,
This is
man.
dumb though.
It really is. So then they're like, okay, you know what we got to do? We'll try and save our behinds. And they're like, Odysseus, welcome back. Can we leave? And Odysseus is having none of it. And they're in full battle. Odysseus immediately just shoots one of them with an arrow.
Ouch.
And then we get Meleathus, who everyone kind of thought was on Odysseus' side because he's one of Odysseus' slaves. Turns out he was like sneaking away and getting the suitor's armor for no reason. I'm like, what benefit do you have to like work with the suitors right now?
Maybe Odysseus was like a terrible boss before he went to
Maybe.
Troy and he was just like an asshole. And he's just like, oh, obviously like spitting in his food isn't doing it anymore. So I guess I'll like let these suitors take him.
Maybe he's like a micromanager or something.
Yeah.
He's like, that cow needs to be milked at exactly 10 a.m. Not 10:05, not 9:50, 10 a.m. Maybe he's one of those.
Why isn't your tie done properly? You need to look good.
Yeah. If you don't have the wine to me at 10:03,
I can imagine that, to be honest.
it wouldn't surprise me with just his behavior as a compulsive liar. So then Odysseus decides that the course of action for this is to tell the two servants that he decided to trust to torture this other guy and hang him up until he dies. Like, this is a really graphic bunch of books.
Yeah, for sure. It's just bloodshed.
Yeah, it is.
It's really picking up for like the lack of drama in the last few books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is full on like drama right now. Soap opera style. So then the suitors decide that the next best plan is to threaten Athena. Like, they fully threaten the goddess Athena. Like, what what plan was there for that? Like, that's a terrible idea. Like,
You
the
can't peer
gods can,
pressure a divine being who literally has all the power in the world over you.
plus they can, like, haunt you, like they can ruin your afterlife setup. I don't know,
Mm.
what plan was there, but I don't think it was a good one.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So Athena decides to test Odysseus and Telemachus instead of just giving them a decisive victory. And then the next thing is like her trying to stay out of it, but then she 2 seconds later makes the suitor's spears fail. So I don't really know, if she's actually staying out of it at this point.
I don't know either, actually. I
It
presume
doesn't seem
so.
like it.
Yeah.
It seems to be like one of those things where it's like your parent tells you, well, I'm not going to say that you have to do that.
Yes.
But yeah, it feels like one of those moments.
I agree.
So then Odysseus spares 2 of the servants' lives because Telemachus was like, they're actually pretty cool. Like, just, let it happen. And then Odysseus kills every single one of the suitors. So then he decides that his next course of action is to kill 12 slave girls that were on the suitors' side. But before he does, he makes them clean up the bodies
Oh
of the
gosh,
suitors.
that's horrible. I do not recall doing that at all in school. I think we just glossed over that part because that's horrific.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to guess, it's probably one of those things that translators left out.
Yeah, because I don't remember before like this version hearing that.
Mhm. Yeah. Or maybe they just didn't have you guys read the full book, maybe?
I don't know.
So then they hang all of the girls, and like very Pirates of the Caribbean style, which just horrific, honestly.
What was the reason?
Because they slept with the suitors.
Yeah, but like, why do you have to kill them? I don't
Because it's
know.
Odysseus.
Like, that doesn't.
I'm not saying it's right.
Oh
It's
yeah, no.
horrible.
Yeah, it's
Like,
horrible. I don't. Yeah, I guess that'd be like murdering like a murderer's girlfriend or something. Like you're
mhm.
just I don't know. But
Well, it's also
oh
like the other thing you got to think about too is we don't know if these girls weren't pressured into sleeping with the suitors either. Like, we don't know if they were willing or anything like that. Like, Odysseus made the assumption that they were all willing,
yeah. Oh,
which
it's
is
horrible.
just awful.
I'm don't like Odysseus anymore. The first
No.
like this rereading has just like I've seen all of his flaws in it this time, because I
Yeah.
think like just the way our curriculum was or whatever,
Hmm.
it's very like, oh, Odysseus is a good hero. He won the Trojan War and then he comes home and like saves his family from the suitors, but then it glosses over the compulsive lying and the
Hmm.
slave girls and all that.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. You come to the Barely Bookish podcast not to romanticize the heroes, but to truly dig into all their flaws.
Mhm.
And that's what we're doing right now. Is Odysseus is not a good person at all.
Nope.
Like, his winnings at war does not change the fact that he's a terrible person and is a brutal murderer for no reason. Like, they literally say, he murdered the best of the best. And also, it's not even that all the suitors were in on it. You know what I mean? Like, he fully blames all of them
There's only one or
for.
two like leaders of it, kind of.
Mhm. And like, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be that many like eligible women. I can't say I blame the suitors for, going after Penelope, who's literally the queen
Yeah.
and is canonically the hottest of the hot. Like, I can't blame them.
And I mean, they probably thought that Odysseus was dead or whatever, or it had
Yeah.
been 10 years.
Yeah. So it's like, I really don't think all of the suitors should have gotten brutally murdered, because we don't know who was just like, trying to marry well to raise their standings in society and who were actually the trash bags.
True.
So, I don't know. Salty.
Hot take.
And then he decides to tell everyone he's back. After the murder. So then we are on to book 23, The Olive Tree Bed. So they're finally telling Penelope her husband made it home. Penelope does not believe the old servant woman. And they also tell Penelope that Odysseus slaughtered all of the suitors, and she doesn't trust the situation at all. She's like, my husband, I don't think he's ever coming back. All this, which, like, I can get it. I feel like at this point, Penelope has been told by many a people that, her husband's on her way, and she's, like, constantly hearing news about him, and it never becomes true. So I get it.
Yeah, it's weird that she didn't recognize him, though, like, even in his, like, eyes,
Well, he was dressed as, like, Athena fully changed him, you know what I mean?
So you think that she changed his, like, physical appearance as well, like, not just, like, his hair or his clothes or whatever?
Well, yeah, they said that she made him look old and withered.
Oh, okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
I was like, they don't have pictures, and it's been 10
True.
years, so I feel like at that point,
True. Probably apart longer than they've been together.
Yeah. Odysseus was kind of old when he went to the Trojan War, but, like, think about it. Even if he was, like, 30 when he left for the war, they were probably married for, like, 15 years, because people got married young, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves, and then he's gone for 20. So it's like they would have been apart for longer. They were together, for sure. Like, no matter how you slice it. So Odysseus is trying to figure out how to get away with murder. And he decides to make it look like they're holding a wedding.
Oh my God.
But I don't really know
imagine
why.
him like propping up all the dead bodies or something.
Oh, it's like what is it?
I don't know.
When he's got the cardboard cutouts, Home Alone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like trying to make it look like they're holding a wedding, and I don't know why. Like, it doesn't help at all. I don't know what the point of this was.
Because, like, chances are there's probably nobody, like, well, I suppose there might be, like, other palace people, like, servants or whatever, but, like, in terms of, like, the local town or whatever, I'd say the castle's, like, out of the way. And it's not like there's, like, CCTV footage or something.
I know.
So I don't know why he's putting on a big show.
I don't know either. But, like, Penelope still isn't really trusting that this is Odysseus yet. So she's like, I'll test him. And she's like, yeah, can you prepare the bed, his wedding bed for him? It was moved out of our room. It's moved into the other room. But can you fix that? And Odysseus is like, who moved my bed? I carved that specifically so no one would be able to touch it. Like, I don't even know how he got it through the doorway. It sounds like he, like, built the room around the bed he made in there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was, the way it was described to me was that there's, like, kind of, like, almost a tree, like, or something in the middle of their house, or, like, their house is, like, built around a tree, so they kind of, like, carved the bed out of the, what's it called? Out of the base of the tree. Like, out of the tree, what's it called? Bark?
The inside? Yeah, bark.
What's, like, the part of the tree with no leaves on it called?
Bark.
Yeah, I thought there's another word too. Anyway, yeah, kind of, yeah. So the like stem of the tree. I can't think of the word. But yeah, they, like, carved the bed into the tree bark. Okay. So it's like that's why nobody would be able to move it or something.
Fair enough.
And then apparently, she was, like, telling him, "Oh, somebody moved your bed," as, like, a test to see if that was Odysseus. So that's, like, another example of how she's, like, cunning.
Yeah, and no god had to tell her how to do that.
Yeah, she just
did it like the queen she is.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't finish that sentence.
You're fine. I didn't know if it cut out or not.
Yeah, I just didn't finish it.
So then Odysseus tells Penelope that he has to make one more trip so they can grow old together. Which, like, poor Penelope. But also, he's like, yeah, God said I had to do this. No one told him that. I don't remember anybody saying that he had to make one more trip after this.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
It feels very much like it was a boys' weekend that he had planned. And he's like, I can't cancel. These tickets are non-refundable.
We
Like, I
got the
know I
box
missed your birthday.
seats.
Yeah, but it's like, he's like, I know I missed your birthday, and I'm sorry about that. I'll make it up to you in a month.
I know I've missed 10 years of your birthdays, but I'll make it up to you.
Ugh, I hate Odysseus.
Me too. He's the worst.
He's like, babe, the flight just got canceled, so I can't come home in 2 days, so I'll have to stay another week. So then they bang and have pillow talk. And Odysseus is like, hey, just hide upstairs until they're gone again. Because, you know, instead of taking his wife with him, he decides to just, like, hide her away for some reason.
Until who comes?
All the suitors. Until all, like, the mob that's going to come after they find out that he murdered all the suitors shows up.
Yeah.
So then we are on to book 24, Restless Spirits.
The final book?
Yeah, which is a ghost chapter for the first part. So, like, we get all the ghosts out in Hades just chatting, and it's like Achilles and Agamemnon, and Achilles is like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry that you died. And Agamemnon's like super salty. He's like, we had a huge funeral for you. You know, your mother showed up. All the gods were there. You had like giant games after your funeral. And you know what happened to me? Well, my wife murdered me. And Achilles is like, I wish you could have died at Troy with us. That would have been great. And this is the moment, though, where we get Patroclus and we get Patroclus and Achilles being buried together, which is something that's in the Song of Achilles.
I still need to read that. I'm so excited. I'm going to ask for it for my birthday. So then I'll read it.
So good. You're going to love it.
I feel like it's going to annoy me, though, if it's like just like the way it's like not accurate to the myth. Like I feel like I'm going to get all mixed up in my head about like what was the myth and what was the book or something, you know?
It's pretty accurate if you read between the lines with the myth.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff that happens in these books happens in the Song of Achilles. Like it's really close.
Because I got the impression it was basically just like a fanfic or something, like like Achilles and they hate each other and then they like become lovers and like all this.
I mean, I don't think so. Like if you literally look on the back of our book, Madeline Miller left a quote for Emily Wilson.
Yeah.
She's the one who wrote the Song of Achilles. Like she stayed really, really close to the actual mythology. My opinion.
That's good. Because I love that. Like when they just like take what's actually in myth and like expand on it rather than just like take the characters and do like completely like other things. Because then it's just like you're trying to capitalize off of like the characters instead of like actually trying to like add to the like world, if you get me.
Because like the first part is like her doing background, so you get like more than just the Trojan War with them. And I really like it. Like I think she uses a lot of stuff that was already in myths. And like I think you're gonna like it. Like it doesn't feel like fan fiction to me. Like I like fan fiction, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like she completely disrupts the world that these characters already exist in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But it does make me, every time I read the Iliad and the Odyssey, being like, you can just say they're gay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like, the way she had to be like, she had to say, your friend Achilles, that, you know, we buried you two together because, you know, you're just that good of buds. It's like, okay. Yeah, sure. You can just say they're gay. It's fine. So they also get buried, like, and another urn gets put right by them as well. Aww. That's another one of their, quote, friends, unquote. Which, like, sure, yeah, just good dudes being friends, good pals.
Urns 10 feet apart because they're not gay.
Yeah. So, now all the suitor ghosts show up, and I'm like, you won't believe what happened to us. And Agamemnon's like, you guys were, like, really young. Did you, like, boat sink or something? Like, what happened? I like the idea that, like, the ghosts aren't omnipresent either. Like, they don't know everything that's going on because they just
Yeah.
weren't there.
Yeah, they're kind of like, oh, I'm dead. Okay, what is this? I'm a ghost. Just gonna bop around, wait for my friends to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're just like, everybody's like, my favorite thing is like thinking about this is like they're at a happy hour,
Yeah.
So they're like little tables, they all got drinks in their hands. They're like, oh, how'd you get here? So the suitor ghosts are like, we were just like chilling at Odysseus' house. I don't know. And he decided to kill us. It's like really rude of him. And I think that's funny to me.
Yeah. I definitely imagine it like a happy hour sitch.
Yes, right?
Like it's chill, some piano music in the
Mhm.
back. They're just waiting for people to arrive,
Yeah.
judging people's outfits. Or like, oh my gosh, he didn't even die in war. The nerve he has coming here, type of thing.
And there's some guy in his pajamas, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he died in his sleep. Like, how could he? The rest of us died at war. Like, could you imagine the cliques that are going on in the underworld?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like, everybody that's trying, like, there's like clubs specifically for everybody that died in the Trojan War.
If you didn't die at war, like you're just scum.
Yeah,
Literally, you
they're like,
can't sit with us if you didn't die at war.
you can't sit with us. So now Odysseus is at his father's house. And he decides to test him because he's the absolute worst. Like, he is the worst. This is a grieving man. And he's like, instead of comforting my father, you know what I should do? Test him. What? For what reason?
I hate him. He just keeps getting
horrible.
worse.
He's so awful to be around. So then Odysseus just walks up and starts lying to his father, just rubbing salt in this old man's wound. And he's like, yeah, I actually met Odysseus like 5 years ago. And, I just came to here and I just wanted to see if he was hanging around. And like, this old man just starts bawling his eyes out. And he's like, my son's dead. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, why are you such a terrible person? So then, like, once his dad starts crying, he actually feels bad. And he's like, all right, I'm actually Odysseus. And his dad's like, what? It's just so horrible. So now everybody in town knows that he killed all the suitors. And they are like, we want to avenge our sons, which is fair because he committed mass murder.
Yes.
And like a couple people in the crowd are like, you guys really shouldn't. Like, if he was just able to kill all of your sons who are drastically stronger than you, maybe you shouldn't try and like go on a manhunt. And half the crowd
fair.
doesn't listen. Yeah, like I wouldn't do that. I'm gonna be honest. Like, no, thank you.
I would just like, I don't know, like trash his house or something, TP his house, scratch his car,
Key his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like in our world, it would just really not be as bad as what Odysseus did. But like, if he offended us in some way, TP his car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd
TP
have to
his
be,
house.
it'd have to be worth something that was like not as bad as murdering like 10 people.
More of a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
Like, he stepped on our rose bushes that we'd been growing for 3 years. So they start fighting again. Odysseus kills one dude, and everyone's like, all right, never mind.
I bet that.
Yeah, and Athena, like, they all, like, basically retreat, and Odysseus starts following them, and then a lightning clap comes down, and he's like, okay, never mind, I won't do that. We'll hang here. It's fine. And that's how the book ends.
Ta-da.
So, they get to grow old together? Who knows?
It should have just ended with like him killing the suitors or something. I don't know why it kind of ended on like that bit. But what was he going to say? Yeah, they should make a sequel of like Odysseus on the run for all of his murders. Yeah. All of his lies catch up to him.
Yeah, like Homer basically left it on a cliffhanger. Like he was gonna be like, and in our next episode. you'll follow our hero Odysseus
But then
as
it just
he.
wasn't popular enough to have a sequel.
Yeah, literally, they're like, you can end it there. Like, it feels very much like there was supposed to be a sequel and there wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe there
Maybe
is. I have no idea.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know when he wrote this in his life, but maybe he like died or something and he's planning on writing
Oof.
another one, or I have no idea. I should have looked into that, but oh hey.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Hades in the afterlife, we all get to finally read the continuation to the Odyssey. He's had like what, 1,000 years or something to write it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
End of an
that's all we've
era.
got. I
What
know.
did you prefer, the Iliad or this?
I definitely preferred the Odyssey over the
Yeah.
Iliad. I don't know if it was my translator or what it was, but I did not enjoy the Iliad at all.
I think, to be honest, I can't even remember really what happened so much in the Iliad now, because it was just a lot of fighting. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more like different settings here and more god action and that type of
Mm-hmm.
thing, which is why I prefer it. And it was like one character all the way through. Whereas like I feel like in the Iliad there was like so many random names and like it was
Yeah.
just all fighting. Whereas this, like, he's kind of island hopping and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more. And it's like it's a much clearer like narrative, I think.
Yeah. Once Emily Wilson comes out with the Iliad translation, I am definitely going to read that and see if I like it better, just because I did not like my translator at all. Like, why did you incorporate Roman gods? Rude.
Yeah.
There was no reason.
I'm putting a poll on my Instagram for our ship names. So I said barely
Good.
about books, and then I don't know if the other one, a bookish book. I don't know.
Yeah, bookish book. About a bookish podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be cute too. I don't know. Listeners, let us know. What's our ship name? But thank you so much, Jade, for joining me on all these episodes.
It
I was
was
gonna
an
say on this
honor.
episode, but all the episodes.
It was an honor.
Yeah.
And I can't wait
And
to do it again.
I know, we're gonna have fun books to talk about in the future, but we will be continuing on with the movie episode next week. So if you want to tune in for the Odyssey movie, please give it a watch, and then we will talk about it next week. But we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. Next week, we will be talking about the Odyssey movie that came out in 1997. I think technically it's considered to be a mini-series, but it's only like 2 parts, I believe. So it's not really much of a mini-series. I think that's just like kind of how they had to put it in. But it's really good. I'm really excited to talk about it, so I hope you guys will enjoy listening to it, because I think there is a lot of great aspects of this movie. Just in comparison with a lot of other adaptations, I think this one is pretty good. So I am excited to talk about it. I can't wait for you guys to watch it and join in. Or if you don't feel like watching it and you just want to join in anyways, we'll go through the whole thing, so you won't be missing much by not watching it. So please watch it, and I will catch you guys in the very next episode. Our theme song was designed by Raphael Crux. Our logo was designed by my little sibling Sarah, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye!